So I said this earlier.
Yeah.
That I don't want to get into who's better, LeBron, Michael, but Michael's more fascinating because he was private. He didn't grow up with social media. He's always, even as an owner, he hid. Whereas LeBron, I know his politics, I know his school, I know his game, I know his family, that there is a mystery around Jordan. And as we keep peeling the layers, it is kind of interesting. I thought the movie was fascinating.
So I haven't seen the movie. You know, I don't get invited to those types of premieres like you do, Colin. You know what I mean? I just nose to the grindstone, just doing my work, hoping a few people watch the show. You're out here, you know, hobnobbing with celebrities. I understand. But one of the reasons Jordan is so fascinating is because we don't even acknowledge the entirety of his actual on-court career, much less off-the-court stuff. So here's the thing. I would just like, and I know you say you don't want to get into the who's better, Jordan or LeBron, and that's fine, we don't have to. I would just like that when we tell the Michael Jordan as an NBA player story, that we all agree that his entire career is the story. So I was recently on a podcast with a friend of yours, Ethan Strauss, and this came up, and I just said, hey, are we allowed to talk about all 15 years Michael Jordan played? Because if I were to tell you, Colin, Jordan played 5 years of his career without Scottie Pippen. I think everybody knows he never won a playoff series those years. But of those 5 years of his career, a third of his career without Pippen, how many years did Jordan's teams finish above 500? The answer to that question is 0. Yet, Nick, you're going to count the Wizards years? Yeah, I'm going to count the whole career. When people say, Jordan had the whole league on lock, no one won rings. In years Michael Jordan played games, the following guys won rings, and I'll leave some out. But Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, James Worthy, Larry Bird, Isaiah Thomas, Joe Dumars, Akeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, Tim Duncan, Shaquille O'Neal, Kobe Bryant. David Robinson too. So when people say no one won rings, what they're really saying is the 6 years Michael won, no one won, which is a tautology, and we all already knew that. And it means Karl Malone, Charles Barkley, and Patrick Ewing never won rings. And so I just think and this, by the way, this movie that I'm sure was wonderful, and I'm sure whoever invited you is a wonderful person, I'm excited to see it. This movie goes along with it. You even alluded to it. I haven't seen the movie, but they evidently in the movie talk about the shot Jordan hit as a freshman at North Carolina. What does anyone in the world know about the rest of his collegiate career? It never happened. No, he hit the one shot and magically 3 years later he's in the NBA. It's just, we seem to have just decided that Jordan's career is only the highlights and not the whole story. And I personally, as a guy who think LeBron and Kareem have had better basketball lives, feel like we should tell the whole story. That's all.
No, I think that's very fair. You know, he didn't win without Pippen, never had a winning season without Pippen. And also, when James Worthy, one of the great forwards ever, left Carolina, he didn't win at college level. He didn't win rings at the college level. It's just facts.
I mean, greatest coach ever in college, greatest coach ever in the pros. Meanwhile, you got LeBron dragging David Blatt and Frank Vogel to NBA Finals and a title. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, tomato, I suppose.
Mario Chalmers says, players do not fear LeBron.
You're really going to rile me up here. Okay. So here's the thing, Colin. So I've heard this. We always hear it. They were scared of Kobe. And, they were obviously scared of Michael. No one was scared of LeBron. You know how I choose to judge people, Colin? Through their actions. So here's the question I would ask. If no one was afraid of LeBron, and everyone agreed during the 2010s when LeBron went to 8 consecutive NBA Finals that the West was the superior conference in an era of unprecedented player mobility, why did no one but Melo come east? Why did no one but Carmelo Anthony, if no one was afraid of LeBron, and the West was obviously harder, why was all of the player movement west to west or east to west? Because the moment LeBron left the East, you know what I saw happen? Kawhi went east. then Kevin Durant went east, then James Harden went east. I saw all that. But while LeBron was there, you know what I saw happen? I saw Chris Paul change teams a bunch of times. He stayed west. I saw Paul George leave the conference. I saw Dwight Howard leave the conference. So if no one was afraid and it was the easier conference, why for a decade did no one say, yeah, why don't I go east? It's an easier path to the finals. Don't have to deal with the Duncan Spurs. Don't have to deal with Steph's Warriors. Don't have to deal with the Rockets. All I have to deal with is one team one guy nobody's afraid of in LeBron. It's interesting. It just seems like people's actions said they knew no matter how stacked the West was, the best chance of getting to the finals was either being on LeBron's team or being on a team that could play him in the finals because no one was beating him for a decade. That's how I read the history, but I don't know. Maybe Mario Chalmers knows better. By the way, Mario Chalmers, you know what I mean? Everybody talks about Jordan's shot. Mario hit a bigger shot than Michael Jordan. Where's his statue? Shout out Mario Chalmers, 07 Kansas Jayhawks. Worst bet I ever lost, Memphis, -2.5. Disaster. Go ahead, sorry.
You and J-Mac in your betting. So I came out, I said this, the movie really is a large part of it's about Michael Jordan's mom, just a rock of Gibraltar, a rock of strength.
Sure.
And she's really a key component in it. And Viola Davis, the actress, easy to root for, neat story. And I did say that, we're all, to some degree, all of us have a part of our parents' personalities, right? And she was very strong and committed and focused. And Michael is strong, committed, and focused. And it was interesting. I said the one thing about Michael, he chose the right people. Phil Knight, Phil Jackson, Dean Smith, David Falk. He chose well. And I said about 20 minutes ago, I said, I like Lamar Jackson. He's not choosing well. And we've seen this in our life with athletes. They choose bad agents, bad teammates, bad friends. So he chooses his mom as an agent. And now apparently somebody that's not even registered as an agent. And I'm like, you got to get...
It's not great.
It's not great. Like,
It's not great.
Where do you have him going?
I think I gave a list of the best destinations for him. I can tell you that, then we can talk about his decision-making here. Yeah. I think the Colts, if they wait until after the draft, so they use the number 4 pick, and then they try to sign him, and they give up the next 2 first-round picks. The Falcons, I know they said they were out, but they make sense. Here's the thing on the Patriots, Colin. Belichick is 30 wins behind Shula. If they stick with the current quarterback situation, how many years is it going to take the Patriots to get 30 wins? Belichick going to coach 5 more seasons? And then I think Detroit or San Francisco would become the overwhelming favorites in the conference if they get him. Obviously, San Francisco would have to wait until after the draft because they don't have first-round picks. So I think all those places make sense. And on Detroit's end, you could probably get a second-round pick for Jared Goff. But on Lamar's end, do you remember when your dear friend Baker Mayfield finally broke his silence? And it was in some weird podcast, and there was a dog on the couch next to him splayed out. And it's like, this is not the greatest messaging I've ever seen.
Right.
This is maybe not that maybe you don't have the greatest PR. And I like Baker a lot, but I didn't think that was the greatest messaging. I think Lamar, who's released the information that his own production company is going to interview him, I don't think that is the right path.
Yeah.
I think Lamar could either give an interview or a statement that is very succinct and very simple and should say, I want to clear some things up. First of all is this. Everyone has said that I want the deal Deshaun Watson got. And that may or may not be true, but here is what is definitively true. I was eligible for a new contract a full year before Deshaun Watson was ever traded. The Ravens opted, despite me winning a league MVP and that year coming off a playoff victory, to not re-sign me. The market shifted beneath their feet. That is their fault and not mine. Furthermore, I have seen quarterbacks who have accomplished far less than me get paid far more than Baltimore is currently offered. And now we are in a situation where I am currently on the books to make less money than Daniel Jones. That seems ludicrous to everyone involved. And if you message that, and I think you can get some of the public relations back on your side, I think this has been handled somewhat awkwardly by him. Yeah. And I do fear this one thing, Colin, that because the NFLPA, and you know I'm a union guy, but the union has to look out for everybody.
Right.
And because the NFLPA is helping him with this, it is a massive win for players as a whole if Lamar gets a fully guaranteed deal. Is it more important for the union for that to happen than for Lamar? That would be my concern, where maybe if there was one-to-one representation, they could say, listen, we have gotten this as far as we can get it. You have gotten 90% of what you wanted. Is this worth fighting further? So I don't think the Ravens have handled this great, and I don't think Lamar has gotten the greatest of advice up to this point. But we'll see. Maybe someone post-draft will pay through the nose for him because he is an obvious difference maker, but it's not looking like that right now.
Nick Wright, first things first, crushing. And he's got a podcast. His beautiful wife's on it. What's Right with Nick Wright? She holds him accountable. She doesn't let him just go out here and wander around. She doesn't allow that.
Unlike you. You know what I mean? You just let me talk. You take a sip of coffee and sit back. No, she's yelling at me, cursing at me sometimes. It's fun. Colin, I love you. I miss you. I hope to see you soon, my friend.
All right, good stuff. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out more of the best clips from The Herd or go watch a few segments from other shows on FS1.